Alright, so I just took a PTE test last week, and here are the results. This is what I got. I was testing speaking and writing as usual, and that is the reason why I blurred out the reading and the listening, because I didn't answer any of those questions. My main focus is on speaking and writing. Why? Because that is where people always ask about templates. Now, this is test, I believe, number 24 since PT made the changes last August. It's almost a year now. But I think this is test number 24 for us. And back in April, I announced that no more templates. I am not going to test templates or teach templates anymore for speaking and writing. Why? Because after numerous experiments, let's just go back a few months. I'll start it off with, I believe this is February. All right, so take a look at the scores that I got here. I was only testing writing here because speaking worked on the previous attempt, and I figured, okay, I don't need to test speaking again. I tested writing. And did I use templates? Yes, I did. This is back in February, okay? And now I need to see consistency in order to teach it in class, teach it to students. I don't want to teach anything that is 50-50. That's almost like gambling, right? Well, actually, gambling is probably less than 50. Now, on the next attempt, keep in mind, the writing techniques work here. On the next attempt in March, we did both speaking and writing. Looks good, right? Speaking worked again. Writing worked again. This is using templates. Now, let's go to April and take a look at the scores. Both speaking and writing dropped. I only answered speaking and writing, and I used the same templates as the previous two tests. The speaking worked a couple of times, the writing worked a couple of times, and then it drastically dropped by using templates. I do not like that inconsistency, and that's happened so many times ever since August. Every time I test something, it works a couple of times, it stops working, and then I change it, I tweak it a little bit, it's working, it works a couple of times, then it stops working. That is why in April I said, nah, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm not teaching templates anymore. I'm not testing templates on the exam anymore. And students still ask me, like, hey, I heard this, I heard that. You are welcome to do whatever you want to do. I myself personally do not trust it. I do not want to risk working, maybe not working, because you see the April scores. Let's go back again. 62 and 69, that is a huge drop from the 90. So again, starting from May, I changed everything. I started testing more of a freestyle, structured answer. I show people how to answer it. I show them the structure on how to answer it. We're not really memorizing any templates. And what did I get on the first test? Or the other teacher took the test. What did she get? 90 and 90, right on the first attempt, right? So now here you see, again, I blocked out the listening and the reading because we didn't test listening and reading. Looks good, 90 in speaking, 90 in writing. We used some type of a structure, no memorized templates. That's a good sign. And then the next month, which is in June, I did the exam. I tested everything, and what did I get? Here, I got consistency with the speaking, 90 in speaking, but 81 in the writing. It's dropped. What happened? Why did it drop? Well, it wasn't because of a template. The reason why it dropped is because the essay. So this is what's important, guys. So far, speaking is consistent, right? But the writing, I was trying to do the essay without fully answering the essay question. I wanted to see what would happen, right? I followed a similar structure. Well, it's the same structure. It's just that I didn't really fully answer the essay question. Okay, so you can see I didn't get full marks. I was able to get everything but the superior. Okay, and then I adjusted that on the last test. Let's go back to that score. This was from last week. Speaking is 90 again. Now we have consistency. Keep in mind, I did not answer listening or reading, and this time the writing went back to 90. That's 3 tests now consecutively. 90 in speaking, 90 in speaking, 90 in speaking. That is the most consistency I have seen since August last year. What's the difference? I stopped using templates. Okay, when we were using templates, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And now 3 times, 90, 90, 90 in speaking, because I didn't use a memorized script. Now I feel more confident teaching that. But with the writing, this time it went back to 90. What's the difference? Well, again, I mentioned for the essay when I got 81, I didn't really answer the question fully. On this one, I went back and I answered the question. So you guys can see now the consistencies and the inconsistencies in the scores. For the writing part, the only time that I didn't get full marks in the writing when I stopped using a template was in the essay, where even though I wrote the essay following a very organized essay structure, but I didn't fully answer the question. Right? And then when I answered the question, the score went back up. The only thing that was different was the essay for the writing score. Everything else stayed consistent. And that's what I want.